Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to do a wonderful warming winter stew, which is just what we need on a day like this. I'm going to do oxtail stew. When I was a kiddie-winkle, I used to love oxtail soup out of a can made by Mr. Hines, but I never actually saw real oxtail in the flesh, as it were, until I moved to Spain, where it's actually, in Madrid, it's quite popular in cafes and bars in the winter, and so it was almost always my go-to dish, and they call it Rabo de Toro, which is tail of bull, and it's just wonderful. It takes a long time to cook because of the collagen in the tail. That takes a lot of time to break down, but when it does, it turns into this unctuous sort of jelly kind of consistency that it's just marvellous. Anyway, enough drooling, let's do it. Ingredients for the oxtail stew: I've got about a half kilo of oxtail, I've got a couple of potatoes, 2 sticks of celery, a medium onion, 2 carrots, 2 parsnips, and a litre of beef stock. That's just made up with 2 magic OXO cubes, 2 bay leaves, a small bunch of parsley from the garden, or 1 or 2 teaspoons of dried parsley if you don't have parsley in your garden, some black pepper, and that's it. The parsnips are optional, I just happen to have some and they need using up, so no problem. I'm going to cook this in my slow cooker, Crockpot. So what I want to do first is brown off the meat and just saute the onions. Everything else just needs to be chopped into chunks and thrown in. Well, I said chopped into chunks, but the onion, just cut them small. This is pretty much the size that I always use. They don't want to be massive, big chunks, and they will actually more or less disappear during the long cooking. Right, so I've got a couple of tablespoons of oil in a frying pan on medium heat. Let's just wait for that to get hotter. Okay, that's moderately hot, so put your meat in, and you want to just keep on turning it so that it gets browned all over, and also we'll pop the onions in. And while that's going on, prep the rest of the veg. So carrots and parsnips need to be topped and tailed and peeled, and then cut into sort of bite-sized chunks. If you cut them too small, they'll disappear as well during the long cooking. So keep turning the oxtail, just make sure you get browning on all surfaces. Easy said than done, because they're not exactly a regular shape, these ones. And stir the onion so they don't get too black or too brown. So we can throw the carrots and parsnips into the pot. Now peel the spuds. Cut the spuds into bite-sized chunks as well. I love that phrase, bite-sized. How big is that exactly? And those can go in the pot. And finally the celery. This wants to be cut quite small really. And that's just me really, because I don't like big half moons of celery floating in my stew, but I do like the flavour, so there you go. And pop those in. And finally chop your parsley. And oh, that smells good. That can go in. And the bay leaves and a good sprinkle of ground black pepper. And these things, actually no, I'll put the stock in before they go in. Give everything a good stir. Oops. Now we pop our chunks of oxtail in and the onion and all the juice from the pan. So make sure the oxtail is pretty much submerged. If you don't have enough liquid, just add some more boiling water. So now this goes in the actual stock pot container thingy. And turn it on high and leave that overnight, or at least 7 or 8 hours. If you don't have a slow cooker or a crock pot, you can do this as a casserole in the oven on sort of low medium heat for 3.5 to 4 hours. I wouldn't recommend trying to do it on a stove top because it will stick. Anyway, come back later for some delicious oxtail stew. Okay, so hours and hours and hours later, here it is. Looks not spectacular, but I bet it tastes great. Oh look! It's the boss.
Taste testing, you know.
Rabo de Toro.
Yeah.
Falling off the bone.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
That's the general idea.
Oh yeah. What's got in there? Is that parsnips?
That might be spilled. That's parsnip.
Yeah. It's soft, isn't it? That needs red cabbage. Pickled red cabbage. That's what that needs. I like that. No, it's a fatty meat, isn't it? Unctuous, I believe, is the word.
That is the word. It is very fatty. So if you don't like very fatty, tough.
Pickled red cabbage.
Yeah, that'll do. Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice.
And that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now please do the usual: likes, shares, comments, subscriptions, donations, patronage, all that good stuff. Or just some of it. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.